Hello, hello, hello. My name is Christy Abel, and it is my pleasure to present SOGI, gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation on behalf of Rethink Sex Education. But before we begin, I would like to acknowledge and appreciate that I'm recording this on the traditional territory of the Tsawwassen and Musqueam First Nations, where I have the privilege to work, learn, live, and play. I give my respect to all Homohoyan speaking people and those in the Coast Salish community, as well as all elders who have come before us. Hi, Chika. All right, in this video, you are going to learn about all of these things. Okay. Sex assigned at birth and gender identity, definitions of several gender identities. I can't cover them all because it's an ever-evolving category, just like sexual orientation. We're going to go over briefly pronouns, how to use them, what it's like to go through puberty as a transgender youth, just a little bit. We're going to look at the range of all these different gender identities, talk briefly about gender expression, and then we'll shift into sexual orientation, the process of coming out, and how to be a solid LGBTQ2S+ ally. Okay, so we're going to do a combination of short videos by Amaze, as well as me kind of diving deeper a little bit into everything to kind of like flesh it out a little bit.
Oh, not another poll. What now? What color are these pants, blue or gold? I hate these polls. Why are there always only two options? Blue or gold, black or white? It's clear that the third option is the right one. These pants are just ugly. Is it a boy or a girl? That's often the first question people ask when a baby is born. The response to this question is most often determined by the external genitals of the baby. Most people, including many in the medical community, see only two possibilities: girl or boy, female or male. If the medical person who helps deliver the baby sees a penis, the baby is said to be a boy. If they see a vulva, the baby is said to be a girl. Either way, this determination of a baby's gender is called sex assigned at birth. Our sex assigned at birth, sometimes referred to as our gender, is based on how someone else sees our bodies and does not take into consideration how we see ourselves as a whole person. For some people, their sex assigned at birth may be distinctly different from their gender identity. Gender identity is how a person identifies, how they see themselves. One's internal sense of being male, female, both of these, neither of these, or another gender altogether is called gender identity. Most people whose sex assigned at birth is female grow up to identify as female. And most people whose sex assigned at birth is male grow up to identify as male. These people are cisgender. Cisgender is a gender identity used for a person whose sex assigned at birth matches their internal sense of who they are. Some babies are born with external genitals, internal organs, or chromosomes that don't fit the typical definitions of male or female. These babies may have their sex assigned at birth be intersex. As they grow up, these people will still have an internal sense of who they are or a gender identity that they will be able to describe later in life. For some people, their sex assigned at birth, girl or boy, doesn't match their gender identity or their internal sense of who they know themselves to be. Transgender is a gender identity that may be used by a man or woman who was not assigned that gender at birth. Sometimes a person's gender identity, or the way they feel or see themselves, doesn't fall neatly into the binary definitions our society has of female or male. People who feel this way may describe their gender identity as genderqueer, gender fluid, or gender non-binary. People who identify as genderqueer or gender non-binary may express a combination of masculinity and femininity, or neither in their gender expression. While there are many different labels used to describe gender identity, you don't need to label yourself or share your gender identity if you don't want to. You may feel unsure or be uncomfortable sharing this information about yourself with others. Trust yourself to know what words feel right for you and when to share that information with friends and family.
And don't worry, we're going to take a look at those two videos that popped up as as the YouTube ads. Okay, so let's go over some definitions. They're really, really important. And I've even had many discussions and explained this to adults because they're like, how can someone be born with a penis but not be male? And this is how I explain it to them. And then they say, oh, that really makes a lot of sense. I'm like, well, I'm used to explaining it to people who are 9 and 10 years old, right? So regardless of how old you are watching this, I'm hoping that you gain some clarity around some definitions as well, you'll see as we move forward. Okay, so first of all, we've got our sex assigned at birth. This is when you come out of your birth mother and the medical profession takes a look at what's between your legs and go, it's a boy or it's a girl. Now, sometimes they may also assign intersex at birth, but this is extremely rare. And most often due to a lack of external genitalia, people who are intersex will automatically be called female just due to lack of knowledge, or, it can be pretty busy time when somebody is being born. Okay, then we have gender identity, and this is how you feel inside yourself about which gender you are. Which is, so it could be girl, it could be boy, it could be both, it could be neither, but everybody has one, right? And they can shift and change over time across the lifespan. It's really the thing that's most important that you take out of this is that whatever's right for you is right for you, and that's it. Okay, then we have our gender expression. Okay, so people express themselves in many ways through clothes and hairstyles. It gets a little deeper than that, but we'll cover that in a little bit. And sometimes people think that certain things go with certain genders, right? These are often called gender stereotypes. That's in another video, which I'll make later. But you really can't guess somebody's gender or pronouns from how they look. It's really, really important. And this is part of why we need to ask. This is why it's important that we write our pronouns in things like videos like this and all that kind of stuff. I identify as she, her, hers, and I am a cisgendered female. All right, intersex. Okay, so this is an umbrella term. An umbrella term is basically it's like a term that encapsulates a whole bunch of different things. So, for example, I'll use the example of Christianity. Okay, so Christianity is an umbrella term for all the different segments of Christianity. So, whether you're a Catholic or you're a Baptist or you're a Presbyterian or whatever, right? It's an umbrella term for all of those things. Okay, so and so intersex is indeed also an umbrella term, just as the term gay is an umbrella term. Again, we'll get to that a little bit later. But basically, it refers to people who are born with bodies that are naturally different from what is traditionally considered to be male or female. And this occurs in about 2% of babies. Okay, so it's actually pretty big. We're looking at over 140 million people. And this is a similar percentage of people who are actually born as redheads. So common, okay? But it's a worldwide stat. Okay, then we have cisgender. Okay, so this is when your gender identity, which is how you feel, is the same as what a medical professional assigned to you when you were born. That's sex at birth. So if you have a penis and testicles and you identify as male, or you have a vulva and vagina and you identify as female. Okay, so that's what cisgender means. And it's often shortened down to cis. Okay, then we have non-binary. These are for people who feel like the words boy or girl don't fit. Okay, so binary means two. And of course, now we know that there are many, many different genders, and non-binary is also somewhat of an umbrella term. And so people who are non-binary may feel like both or neither, and this also can shift and change. Then we have, and actually in the non-binary category, sorry, we would put probably gender fluid. They're not the same thing. Gender fluidity is someone who can feel basically can go kind of back and forth. Now, all sexuality is a spectrum, okay, all of it. Nobody is 100% straight or 100% all gay, okay? You could be like 99.999, right? But everybody is on this spectrum. I love spectrums. I think they're very important. I'll talk about that some other time. Okay, so transgender, this is when your gender identity is different from what the doctors, midwives, whoever helped with that birth of beautiful you, okay, assigned to you when you were born. And as far as we know, about 1% of the world's population is transgender, but this number is likely much, much higher. And just why don't you take a minute to think about why that might be? Well, maybe 5 seconds. Well, it's because in some places in the world, it is extremely dangerous for people to identify as transgender or at all within the LGBTQ2S plus community. Okay. So it can be very, very dangerous. They go to jail, they could be killed, that kind of thing. So many people around the world hide this. And it is their right to do so because this is it's their life, right? All right. But I have to be broadcasting from Canada, where that is not typically a problem, culturally, anyways, as a whole. Okay. And then we have two spirit. And this is a person who identifies as having both masculine and feminine spirit, and is used by some Indigenous people to describe their sexual gender or spiritual identity. Okay, we're going to dip into pronouns because they are super important when we are talking about this topic.
Hi, is this Big Kahuna Burger? Okay, great. I'd like to order your Hawaiian special. Thanks. Oh, wait. Can you take the onion off, please? I don't really like onion. Okay, yeah, thanks. Oh, no mayo as well. And if I could have it without the meat, yeah, I'm vegetarian. Great, thank you. Oh, and no buns. Allergic to gluten. Yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah, basically just lettuce. Thank you. Gender pronouns are usually meant to reflect the gender identity of the person being talked about. She, her, and hers, and he, him, and his are the most common gender pronouns used. Some people may refer to these as feminine and masculine pronouns, though a person could use she, her, hers pronouns and not feel feminine, and vice versa. There are also people who identify as non-binary. They may experience their gender identity as neither exclusively male or female, or in between or beyond both genders. In that case, they might use other pronouns like Z, here, or a whole host of other options. The word they, which is often used to explain the actions of a group of people, can also be used to describe one person alone. For example, they rode their bike to the store. In other cases, someone may prefer that no pronouns be used at all, and that only their name be used when speaking about them. Jason rode Jason's bike to the store. There are many different pronouns that a person can use, so it's less important that you know them all, and because you can't always know what a person's pronouns are just by looking at them, it's important that you ask for and use the pronouns that the person's requested. This is a basic sign of respect for a person's humanity and identity. Actively ignoring someone's pronouns could have harmful effects on their confidence and self-esteem. For some people, pronouns may change from time to time, which means you may want to check in regularly, just to make sure you're being respectful. If you ever mess up someone's pronouns, you don't have to make a big deal out of it. Just apologize and continue to work to do better. And if you need help, reach out to a trusted adult for support and assistance.
Okay. All right, we're going to do a little bit on puberty and transgender youth.
Hi, Fish. Come here. Oh, you need a name. Let's see. Wait a second. What gender are you? A person who is transgender is someone whose internal sense of their gender, being a boy, girl, or something else, doesn't match their physical body. People who feel this way sometimes feel anxious when they begin to reach puberty and their body starts to change in ways that don't match their internal sense of their gender. These feelings are totally normal. If you feel you want more time to explore how you feel about your gender before your body starts to change, it's important to talk with a parent, counselor, therapist, or doctor about the feelings you have regarding your gender. After some discussion and counseling, you may be referred to an endocrinologist. Endocrinologists specialize in hormones, and they are the most likely to prescribe puberty blockers for someone who wants them. Puberty blockers are medications that will stop your body from changing. They are usually given as an injection or an implant. They block the production of hormones to stop or delay the physical changes of puberty. The effects of the medication are only temporary, so if a person stops using puberty blockers, the physical changes of puberty will begin again. Whether you identify as male, female, genderqueer, or something else, you're perfectly normal. And there are lots of ways to manage puberty so that it can be a fun, exciting time rather than a scary or stressful one. Okay, maybe you need more time to get to know yourself first. I'll just call you Bubbles for now.
That's Jane. She's the host of all the Amaze videos, and she's awesome. Okay, so puberty is a wild ride for most kids, okay? Regardless of how your gender identity, sexual orientation, it is a pretty wild ride. At the time of this recording, I have a 12-year-old, and I can indeed confirm this from a parental point of view, but I also remember what it was like. I also work with youth in schools every school day, so I'm around this energy pretty much all the time. However, it is possible that a trans person might feel especially anxious when their bodies start to change in ways that don't match up, don't line up with their gender identity. For example, so if someone whose sex assigned at birth is female is a F2M, right? Transitioning to a male, and then they start growing breasts. Okay, so this can be very disconcerting. It can feel very difficult, and vice versa. Okay, same thing with say enlargement of a penis, if some, or even in the Adam's apple kind of developing, say, so for someone who is born with a penis and testicles, but then is transitioning into female, right? So please note that these feelings are totally okay. All right. Now, if your body is changing in a way that doesn't match how you can feel inside, please do not go through this by yourself. It's incredibly important that you reach out to a trusted adult. Now, this can be a parent, a caregiver, a counselor, a therapist, a teacher, a coach, a healthcare provider. But please, I'm imploring you to not keep everything inside. It will not help you. Now, sometimes you cannot trust a parent. I'm going to recognize that, right? Like for some parents, they're going to be like, whoa, not my, or they'll ignore it and pretend that it's not a thing that's happening. Somewhat keep asking until you find somebody, okay? These adults may be able to affirm your gender identity and explore ways to support your development in ways that are more in line with your affirmed gender, okay? So please, the message here is ask for help. Please ask for help. Can I say please more? I don't know, probably. All right, now we're going to go into the range of gender identities.
All right, folks, here we go. A romaine and kale salad with avocado, cucumber, shishito peppers, and 4 kinds of cheese, sprinkled in balsamic straight from Italy.
Wow. In my day, salads only had 2 ingredients: a rock hard wedge of iceberg lettuce and a stinky old dried up tomato.
Sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to eat fast. Alex is stopping by in a few minutes to work on our robotics project.
Alex, is that the girl with that weird dog or the boy with the hat with the wings that flap?
No, Uncle Jay. This is Alex.
Oh, okay, I remember. A very nice young, come to think of it, well, is Alex a boy or a girl?
Actually, Alex doesn't define themselves as boy or girl.
What else is there?
Back in your day, most people understood the world in terms of just boys and girls. But now we know gender is more complex than that.
Wait, aren't we just talking about whether you're born with a or a
When you're born, your sex is assigned in a medical way, but the sex listed on your birth certificate may not necessarily match your gender identity.
Gender identity is a person's inner experience of who they are in terms of gender, their deep personal sense of being male, female, a blend of both, or neither.
And while many people have a gender identity that's the same as their assigned birth sex of female or male, that's not always the case, because gender exists on a spectrum. Like transgender, which means a person whose gender identity is not consistent with their assigned birth sex. Non-binary, which means a person whose identity doesn't fall in the category of either male or female. And genderqueer or gender fluid, which means a person who does not identify themselves as having a specific gender at all.
Does gender identity have to do with being straight or gay?
Actually, no. Gender identity has to do with the way you feel about yourself, while sexual orientation is based on the way you feel toward others, the people you may or may not be attracted to.
You know, I really like Alex, and I can tell they're a good friend to you, but I'm still pretty confused about all of this.
That's okay. You don't have to fully understand someone to respect them. To start, try not to make any assumptions about a person's gender and use the name and pronouns that they ask you to. Above all, be a friend or ally for people of all gender identities.
That's right, Mom. Oh, Alex is here. Come on in.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, hey, Alex. Here for some salad? The balsamic's right from Italy, you know?
Okay, we're going to shift gears now into gender expression. Okay, everybody has gender expression, okay? Whether you wear all black all day long, whether you wear every color of the rainbow, it is basically how people outwardly express their gender to the world. Okay, and this can include, but is not limited to, the clothes that you choose to wear, the way you style your hair, and whether or not you wear makeup, the name you choose to go by, your pronouns, your behaviors, your body features, okay? And it includes things like using facilities like washrooms and change rooms to match with your own sense of gender. Now, society has a lot of thoughts around this, right? When I'm teaching this to little kids, I use the expression of my hair, it's short, right? It's pretty short. But that doesn't mean that my gender expression is male, because society says that males should have short hair and girls should have long hair, right? So like, anyways, it's I do love that this is being challenged, and the more people speak out of it and show their gender expression to the world, and when it reflects who you truly are, that's where you have so much empowerment, right? Because you feel like that your insides are matching your outsides, if that makes sense, right? But what's thought to be masculine and feminine, it changes over time, it's continuously evolving, and it certainly changes within cultures, okay? All right, it's a cute little video song.
No matter how you're born, we each have a start. I'll tell you in a while exactly what I like.
Ariana and Renee, they both are born girls. They go into their changing rooms. Ariana loves twirl. That's not for Renee. Pink will do. Girls don't wear dresses. They wear pants too. As Renee lost her mind, what's running through her head? Ariana can fix this. That was what she said.
When you put it on, you do a little groove. You know you gotta move. That's how you know you got to get right. Originality. No matter how you're born, we each have a style. I'll tell you in a while exactly what I like.
Bryce and Jason, they both are born boys. They go into their changing rooms. Bryce comes out with joy. Jason has a different idea. The sweater is wearing sack. Bryce has to fix this. Here, try this or that. Wait just 1 second. Don't tell them how to dress. Ariana knows this. Jason can express.
Originality. No matter how you're born, we each have a style. I'll tell you in a while exactly what I like.
Donna and Charles, one girl and one boy. They go into their changing rooms. Charles is feeling coy. Others are thrilled with the look, but Charles is quite unhappy. Let's try this again. Yeah, this is snappy. Some are confused. They just don't understand. Charles knows Charlotte is certain. Ariana's her biggest fan. Some might keep their distance, but the others will come around. Come on over, Donna. Show us what you found. Donna had something on, but is not quite convinced. She wants to try again, yet she still gives the wins. Nope, not right either. Why can't she decide? Sometimes it takes time, only she can find her stride. Donna presents an outfit. The new name is Derek. Now everything feels right. The person within he's sharing.
When you put it on, you do a little groove. You know you gotta move. That's how you know you got to get right. Originality.
We have Skylar, born a boy or girl. Not interested in the girl look. Won't give the boy look a whirl. Skylar wasn't that, and it isn't one of those. This is a unique look from Skylar's head to toe.
When you put it on, you do a little groove. You know you gotta move. That's how you know you got.
it right. I have to say, Ariana has a really, really healthy social media following. Okay. And our last topic of the day is actually, that's not true. Sexual orientation is next. And we're gonna find out using some fruit. Now, one thing you'll notice is that, like, I use the phrase LGBTQ2S plus. That's just kind of what rolls off the tongue for me. But you'll also see it as LGBTQ plus. You'll see it as LGBT. You'll see it as LBGTIA plus, right? So I'm gonna go over what this stuff means in the next few slides.
I never heard of this band. What kind of music do they do? Rock? So what is it, pop? So they do techno, progressive Balkan with a touch of metal? Never heard of that genre. Sexual orientation describes who you are attracted to, may fall in love with, and may have a sexual relationship with. Everyone has a sexual orientation, and there are different words to describe different sexual orientations. Many people are familiar with terms like heterosexual, gay, lesbian, and bisexual. But those aren't the only sexual orientations out there. For example, some people identify as pansexual, which means they are attracted to people of all genders. Many pansexual people feel that gender has little to do with their attractions. In other words, they are attracted to a person, not to that person's gender. Some people are asexual, sometimes called ace. Asexual people feel little or no sexual attraction to other people and have little or no interest in having sex or engaging in sexual behaviors. Many asexual people still feel romantic attraction. They feel love and affection, but may not feel sexual attraction. Demisexual people only feel sexual attraction when they have a strong romantic or emotional connection with a person. These are just some of the labels people use to describe their sexual orientation. Some people don't like to use labels at all, and that's okay too. There are many other terms out there to describe the full, diverse spectrum of human beings, and that's a beautiful
Thing, isn't it? Yes, you don't always need to see the credits. Okay, let's go back to some definitions. First of all, your sexual orientation is about how you feel towards others. It's who you love or are attracted to and potentially may have a sexual relationship with. So LGBTQ2S plus. Okay, so this is the one that I choose to use. It's an acronym for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, two-spirit, and queer questioning. And that plus is really, really important. Okay, it represents all the many sexual identities that include, but are certainly not limited to, pansexual, asexual, demisexual, aromantic. Like it's a very long list. And so that we just can't have an acronym that is like as long as the alphabet, right? Like it's not very functional. So Q can mean queer, but it can also mean questioning. And I think the questioning piece is a really key piece here. Not everybody's sure, and most people will question at some point in their lives. It is very, very typical. It is normal to do so, and it doesn't mean that you identify in a certain way, okay? What it means is that you have questions. And that's okay. It's good to have questions, right? And it can change across your lifespan. This happens all the time, actually. I have had many friends who didn't come out as transgender until they were in their 40s, and it started to explain a whole bunch of things. And also, please be clear that many heterosexual people will question their sexual orientation at all, just because someone thinks that they are, or anyways, it's fair game for everybody. Okay. The questioning is fair game for everybody, regardless of your sexual orientation. Okay, people who are bisexual are people who love or are attracted to people of more than one gender, but they typically present as cisgender. So remember, cisgender is when your gender expression matches your sex at birth. Okay, so bisexual people do typically present as cis. And then we have gay. Remember I said gay is, again, an umbrella term. So my cousin, who is a fabulous, fabulous drag queen based in Toronto, he is transgender, F to M, and dates women. And so I asked him, I said, so does that make you hetero? And he laughed and he said, no, I'm gay. Right. And so that was that, using that umbrella term, because he doesn't identify as a lesbian because his gender identity isn't female. Right. So anyway, so gay can be used in this umbrella way. And lesbian, right? So now it is people who are love or attracted to people of the same gender, but it is typically limited to those people whose assigned sex at birth is female. And then we have our heteros, okay? People who are attracted to people with the opposite sex assigned at birth and gender. Okay, let's talk about the coming out process.
Hey, bro, what's up?
I'm okay. I guess I feel a little stressed. I've been thinking a lot about something. I don't really know how to talk about it.
You can always talk to me, Jordan, anytime, anywhere. I'm your cousin, and I'll always look out for you. It's called unconditional love, dude.
Thanks, Frankie. I'm so glad you're always there for me. See, I've been feeling funny lately because of a couple crushes I have on different people.
Yeah, so that's normal. We all have crushes. It's part of feeling attracted to people. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, my crushes, well, they've been on other boys.
Hey, Jordan, that's totally fine. People are attracted to who they're attracted to, and it doesn't matter if it's someone of the same gender or a different gender. It's all normal, and you're allowed to feel exactly how you feel. I'm so glad you trust me enough to come out to me.
What does that mean? I've heard people talk about coming out of the closet, but I don't know what closet they're talking about. Do I have to come out?
Coming out is when someone who's gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender decides to tell other people. You get to make that choice, Jordan. No one can force you to come out. The main point is that you get to decide when and how you want to share your feelings. You are the person, the only person, who gets to define your own sexual orientation. We all have that right.
Thanks, Frankie. That's helpful to hear.
You bet, buddy. This kind of thing takes time to understand, and it's totally okay if you're still not sure how you feel. Some people use different words to describe their sexual orientation at different times in their lives. It's all normal.
I guess what I'm really nervous about is how my mom and dad might react. I'm scared they'll be mad.
Your mom and dad are pretty cool, and I know they'll love you no matter what. But again, you don't have to rush telling them. You can take your time.
Yeah, my friend Anna told her parents that she's bisexual, and they threatened to kick her out of the house. It was awful.
Wow, that's really terrible. I'm sorry that happened to her. It's true that not everyone is as accepting as they should be. Some people have to decide carefully when and who they come out to. It's also a good idea to make a plan for what to do if coming out doesn't go well, especially with your parents. Like making arrangements to stay with a friend or family member until things calm down. You know, you're always welcome to stay at my house. But like I said, I'm always here for you. Anytime, anywhere.
Thanks, Frankie. Now, can I tell you something else?
Sure, what is it?
I made the junior varsity basketball team.
Right on.
All right. Okay. And last but not least, we have how to be a solid LGBTQ2S plus ally, which is an important role for everybody, in my opinion.
I'm so glad that you shared your feelings with me. You know, it's important not to keep those kind of things inside. Oh, sure. Don't worry. Your secret is safe with me. It's only me and Fishy here, and he's great at keeping secrets. You may be asking yourself, how can I support my LGBTQ friends and loved ones? This is called being an ally. An ally is someone who is not LGBTQ, but supports and stands up for people who are. For example, someone who is heterosexual can be an ally to those who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. There are many ways that you can be an ally to your LGBTQ friends and loved ones. The most important thing you can do is let your LGBTQ loved ones know that you are there to listen to if they need to talk. Knowing that they have someone to talk to can be super helpful. Another important way you can be an ally is to stand up for someone if they are being picked on or bullied because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. If they are standing up for themselves, it may help to have an ally stand with them. If you hear others say mean things, you can say, "It really makes me feel uncomfortable when you say negative things about LGBTQ people." You can also get involved with LGBTQ organizations or causes. You may decide to join a GSA or Genders and Sexualities Alliance at your school, or you can work together with your friend to start one.
Sometimes people who are LGBTQ feel like they're the only person around with their gender or sexual identity, but that's not true. Helping a friend or loved one find others that understand what they are going through is another great way to show that you care.
Okay. All right, so how can you support your family and friends? So for a lot of people, learning that someone they know and care about is part of this community can open up like a variety of emotions. Okay, they can feel honored, they can feel awkward, they can be concerned, they can feel confused, especially your parent or guardian caregiver type person. Okay, so one of the things that I always encourage youth to do when they come out to me, which is I'm so honored, it's a huge honor for me when that happens. But they want everyone to catch up with who they are, but they haven't really told anybody, right? And so this actually also requires patience on your part, right? Where it's like, you know, your whole life, your caregivers have seen you like this, and now you're telling them, actually, I'm over here. They will need a little bit of time. Okay. I don't know how much time, because everybody's individual, but patience and understanding from everybody involved in the coming out process is so ideal. Okay. So if someone comes out to you, it may be hard to know how to react, what to say, or how you can best be supportive. So when someone is coming out, they're basically publicly identifying that they're part of the LGBTQ2S plus community. Okay. They're inviting you into this part of their life that they might be really scared about. So it should be protected and celebrated. Okay. And most people prefer to come out in their own ways and in their own time. It is super important that you do not share the news with others without their consent. All right. This is called outing. And that's when you take the decision making out of the person's hands, and that can be painful, awkward, and even harmful for everybody involved. It will definitely put a strain on your relationship with this person, so please do not do it. But here's what you can do. Okay. So tips on what to say and how to be. What you want to do is ask respectful questions to show that you're interested in some of these. And again, not limited to, how did you know it was the right time to come out? How are you holding up? Like, how you doing? Right? What can I do to support you? What pronouns do you want me to use for you? Right? Have you told anybody else? And also, would you like us to keep this between us? Maybe they want to be a person that you go and help share the news with, right? Because they trust you so much. It's really, now, sometimes you might be like, I don't know what to say. It's okay for you to feel awkward. Okay. Your friend, you thought they were like this, and they're telling you, actually, I'm over here. It doesn't change who they are as a person. It doesn't change their personality. Okay. It's changing their sexual orientation and or gender identity. Right. Okay. So you want to ask them to be honest with you. Right. So also, it's important to be forgiving, okay? Because not everybody's going to get this right away, and people are going to make mistakes about this their whole lives. The one thing that's really important, if you do make a mistake or you do make someone feel uncomfortable, is to apologize and then change your behavior. Okay, apologies without a change in behavior are total like insignificant. They don't matter at all, right? Okay, and then if you just need a little time to kind of process what's happened, just say so, right? But we want to be reassuring, right? Remind that you still care for them and respect them just as much, if not more, than you already have. And that, my friends, is the end. We're going to end this like a classy French film thing. I really hope that you have garnered something useful from this. And if you find it, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all those lovely things, so that we can get inclusive sexual health education for people across the lifespan, like really out there. All right. Thank you. And I'll catch you next time.